Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry I'm a little late. So, welcome to Week in Review 2217. But I'm not really doing a week in review. Or rather, it's nothing so ambitious. It's just like a review of my videos and some of the ideas and topics I was talking about, and just some of the news items, that dealing with this week. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. Let me make sure that I've got everything set up here. I just have to go test. The control room and things like that. Make sure that everybody can hear me. Yeah. So it's occurred to me also that a lot of my videos, they don't lend themselves to just quick 10-minute videos. Some of the ideas that I bring up in the videos, I don't really get to, flesh them out as well as I'd like to, but I can't really have any sort of like a long form, open ended discussion in the videos. You know what I mean? I just have to like, boom, 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 make my points and stuff like that. I'm still looking for my control room and stuff like that. Yeah, as far as I know, this stuff isn't working yet. But I think we're seeing a lot of examples of gynocentrism and female values and feminism being forced throughout the culture and the media. And it's amazing the lengths to which it can go. So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about some of the other ideas in my videos this week, because it's really impressive how extensively women and female values dominate our society and our culture and our minds, our psychology, our way of looking at the world. So much so that, it can take over the NFL. It can take over male dominated industries. And, soldiers will put on high heels and go on a march. That's no small accomplishment, getting that to happen. That's how powerful their point of view is, their values. I'm just looking around in the background while I'm getting other things set up. That's what I'm looking for. I just need to make sure that the chat and everything like that is actually working. So I've got my coffee. I've got my stuff to smoke. So I should be okay for a little while. Okay, yeah, here I am. Over here on my channel page. Good. It's working. I've got to update my channel avatar. I did this because I wanted something that was just immediately recognizable, as MGTOW. Hey, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I'm looking at the chat. That's all. So I hope this isn't too late, for you guys. But I figure there's a plus side to doing it this way because, just hanging out, maybe nothing else is going on. So, boom, I can, do the podcast at this time. And I, of course, want to look at it from my point of view. And that is any excuse that I could have to like type in a chat window, I'm going to take it. So it's like, well, what's the podcast about? And it's like, well, we don't know. We don't really have a subject. It's like, well, there's only one person. So it's like, well, that's okay because I can use the chat. So there you go. People become addicted to online media. That's largely, that's one of the reasons why it's so successful is because it actually fuels a whole, reward system. I don't know how the people hang out on Twitter so much and Facebook. I'm trying to, I will become familiar. I will learn to dominate Facebook and even Twitter. But, some people, it's like natural to them. And it is. That's part of the reason why it's so successful. But it has been an amazing week, hasn't it? Absolutely. The riots at Berkeley, the irony of this behavior of the left engaging in open violence while they're protesting what they call fascism. If they were protesting irony, their heads would explode from the cognitive dissonance. Saw a Stefan Molyneux video where he is talking to somebody, one of the victims of the violence at the event. And this is all part of feminism, of the left, of denigrating male values, of globalism, social relativism. And it's a very convenient mindset for somebody who doesn't want to work, who's for somebody who doesn't want to face reality. You could say that there are two types of people who face reality and deal with it, and people who spend their whole lives running away from it and trying to avoid it. And you can definitely see someone like Trump, you can definitely see a representation of just dealing with reality. It's like, well, this is a very difficult problem. And it's like, well, I've dealt with very difficult problems in the past. So, and it's like some people, they just don't have the mindset to enable them to just deal with reality and the situations as they are. And I've recognized this in government workers, people, like when you go to the grocery store on a national holiday, you'll see it. They are walking around like zombies. They are stuck. They can't move. They can't think. If anything new comes their way, they don't know how to respond. They freeze up. And when anything that challenges their worldview, their way of life, they revolt. They resort to these kind of emotional manipulation, attack tactics that we see from the mainstream media. kind of like a child slandering somebody. That's what they resort to. That's how they argue. They don't argue. They perform character assassination. They perform identity politics, and they break people down into groups and form groups, and then pit the groups against each other, and they start trouble. They don't deal with problems. So that's the mindset. Can't tell you why. And it creates this really interesting phenomenon that I'm just starting to, think about and look at, where they can't, it seems like they can't see other people's worldview. They can't see it. And you can see this in technology and invention. When somebody has to deal with, when people have to deal with new inventions and things like that, they can't evaluate the new invention in light of its groundbreaking properties. They can only evaluate it relative to their existing paradigm. So if you say to them, well, here's a telephone, they say to you, well, what do I need a telephone for? I'll just use the telephone to call the secretary. The secretary will then just go and get the messenger boy, and then the messenger boy will take the message and run it across town. It's like, no, you'll be able to use the telephone to directly call the business, owner on the other side of town. And they just can't even imagine, what a breakthrough difference and revelation it is. And I definitely think that's something that happened with the internet and the mainstream media. Certainly their control of it, and you could have seen this coming. And these companies that are like really successful right now, they did see this coming. They created this. And it happened very quickly too. So, don't be pessimistic and don't be like, oh, I don't like this or I don't like that. Embrace new technology and understand that technology doesn't care about people. Like when the horse and buggy people, when the car was invented, the car, it just had no sympathy for them. Right. And now we've got this very interesting change taking place in society where mainstream media and the left has been able to control things through this false narrative, through the control of the media, through the control of the people's minds. And now things have gotten so bad that, it just didn't work this time. And now you like the way I say that? And now we're seeing the results, like children that are just pitching a fit. And but it's dangerous and it's destructive. And even though they seem like a bunch of children, idiot children, no, as a group, they're, violent and destructive. And they're also a political force. The political statement is being made. So the president of the university is like complicit in it, knows what's going on. The chancellor of the university is actually encouraging it. The local police are told, just stand down. That's it. And tax dollars go to fund this bullshit, and they're doing it because they lost an election. They're afraid for their jobs. That's how government workers are. They stake out their territory. That's what feminists do as well. Like when you disagree with them, you don't go along with them, even if you're correct and you're telling the truth. No, they just attack the shit, out of people. It's like women who have been part of the feminist movement for a long time. And then they say something that the other feminists don't agree with. And it's like, well, you're out of the group. Yeah, they attack. And you can see this behavior in other political upheavals as well, like, the communist revolution, like in China, right? No, you have this established, system of their elders, this kind of Confucius based ethical long term, respect your elders system in China. And the young people, they just didn't want it. They were just sick and tired of it, you know, like back from Confucius days, it's kind of, anyway. So yeah, they revolted. And once they had communist ideas, They just went full tilt with it, right? So you can imagine um, a bunch of low grade students who were never going to be anything but farmers, and probably very unsuccessful ones at that, getting their failing grades from their teachers, and then the communist revolution happens. And it's like they put on the uniform really fast. You know what I mean? They become a party member really fast. They go along with the group really fast. And they're quick to go after that, teacher or that boss who previously had authority over them. So you see this kind of insect like mindset, political mindset within these groups that are formed on these types of alliances. Basically, they're just built up through fear, people's wants and interests, and they're manipulated. It's not their real wants and interests. They're manipulated. So it's a hell of a system, and it permeates, all these aspects of it. So the police, right? They're like smiling and just like, oh, we can't do anything, as you know, these people are, ripping down the streets and shit like that. And it's like they kind of, I don't know that they recognize that there's another group of people who pay their salaries, you know what I mean? Who are taxpayers and who are like, wait, we weren't doing anything wrong. This is all, they won the election, lawful assemblies, freedom of speech, right? And it's like, no, those principles, those ideals, no, they're just, they were just using them as an excuse to assert their authority and to collect their resources. And it very much is like a woman when she's divorcing a man, and she'll just tell any dirty lie, to destroy the man and to get the resources. There doesn't seem to be any limit. And the rest of the system is largely complicit in this. Like the judge knows, the cops know, the judicial institutions, they know. But you can't go against this female interest. That's how deeply ingrained it is. Right. So I'm saying this, and some of you guys are listening to this and you're saying, not me, I don't take any shit from anybody. And it's like, even the ideas, that we have as to what is taking shit from somebody are largely female ideas. Yeah. So it's a tricky idea. This is what I was talking about this week in my videos, what I was trying to talk about with female values, gynocentric values. And it's tied into our instincts. And the man just wants to naturally serve that. And if he does, he's just falling for this, for like the most basic level of the trap. And I don't know, like, even if he's like successful at it, it's like, well, congratulations. You've just been successful at getting yourself into a really horrible fucking trap. Right. And these are the guys that are looking at you and saying, but I'm a real man and I have sex with all the women. And it's like, so why are you going MGTOW? And it's like, well, you really don't understand, It's like you can't even stop yourself from bragging about something that you don't have and you can't do. No, the smart move is to go MGTOW. It really is. The smart move, guys, the smart move would be for women to go MGTOW as well. Seriously, this system, this gynocentric system, it's collapsing, The question is, can Trump kind of reset the trajectory of what's going on here? Because Obama just, went ape shit wild in the wrong direction. And the thing is he was only elected to kind of like turn things in a different direction, but no, he didn't even see it. He didn't see it in a practical sense, and he didn't see it in a philosophical sense either. That's how I see it. And you can say, oh, that's just an idea that's concept. That's just an opinion. It's like, no, look at the results. You know what I mean? It's like, don't judge things by your ideas. Judge things by your results. If you say I want to, get to San Jose, and you look at the map and then you head out in that direction, or what you think is that direction, and then you look around and you're not in San Jose, you know what I mean? You need to look back at your map, figure out where you are. I'm sorry. The results matter. So you get to say to yourself, "Oh shit, I'm off course. Oh, I, got the map wrong. I'm reading this map incorrectly." You get to say that. The results do that for you. They give you that. So if you're sitting in life and you're having a hard time, hey, it's feedback, you know? You need to make some changes. Make the changes while you can. This is why I don't like the fucking defeatist attitude. This idea of like, oh, the world is terrible. It's gynocentric. It's feminism. Nothing we can do. Oh, Trump and Clinton are the same. Nothing you can do. You're a dummy. Ha, ha, ha. It's like, no, you're a surrender monkey. You're a quitter, right? There's a million fucking things I can do. I don't think that I can necessarily save the world. That's not what I'm interested in doing. I'll just take, a fucking $1 million and a vacation over in Hawaii or something like that. You guys are invited, right? So we can do that. What the hell? Or we can do a YouTube podcast. We can do that. It's not all bad. So when I get that attitude, I want to like fight back, but it's pointless. So what am I going to do? Yeah, that was something else I wanted to talk to you guys about. I really appreciate all the input and feedback I get in the comments section, everything like that. But I don't hang out in my, in the comments section. I don't have the time. I have like pleasant interactions, like a pleasant thank you here or there, or a light chuckle here and there. Sometimes with a great comment, I like to read it, do a full video on it. MGTOW X are great, MGTOW success stories. But I don't have time to get into long conversations within the comment section. You know what I mean? Making a video takes about 3 hours for me, more or less. If I'm lucky, a little bit less. If it's a little longer, or if things are going a little slow, or there's some interruptions, a little more. And I'd like to do 2 a day, but that's kind of difficult. So yeah, the idea of but I get these great comments and these requests, for interaction, and I really can't follow them up. You know what I mean? I've just got to read them and smile and just kind of like move on. And it's not because I couldn't give a word here and a word there. I certainly could, but then I just get stuck in a bunch of other stuff with some people that they kind of like trick me into a conversation and shit. So I appreciate it all, and I like to show my appreciation. But if I don't be upset. Don't think I'm not, like not aware of it. I really am. But I'm like making a conscious decision to say, oh, I'm going to make this other video, or I'm going to do this next podcast. Now, I have to go heat up my coffee, people. So this is just going to have to be an intermission. So go ahead and take a minute or two for yourselves, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Got to have hot coffee. So I've taken to playing Medal of Honor. No, Company of Heroes. Sorry. Yeah, big difference. Company of Heroes. But the first one, um, Normandy, the very first one, I like that one the best. And I do this. I go back to old games sometimes. And I just feel like that version had more charm and personality than the ones that came after it. Almost as if someone else had taken over the production and they were just kind of like following the formula as opposed to the people who originally created it. I kind of felt that way about BioShock too. Too. Yeah, one was great. It was groundbreaking. It was like, one of the best games I'd ever played. And not simply because, a great game, but because of the writing and the characters and the dialogue and the ideas. And two felt like, it was the same setting, a lot of the same ideas, furthering the same story and narrative, but not as original. Like they were just like throwing some stuff up there using, the original one. And then three, which, was yeah, the one in the clouds, wasn't it? Yeah. Now it was great gameplay, you know what I mean? But I wasn't crazy about that one. I didn't really like that one so much. It was kind of confusing and disjointed. And that was intentional. You got to hate it when they do that. It's like, oh, we're going to tell a story that has a constant shifting of time perspective. It's like, oh, great. Great. I'm sure it's a real complex story for somebody with, like an IQ of 180, or somebody who can just sit there and focus and concentrate on every little aspect and detail of it, but it is a video game. So it's like, no, no, after about like the third or fourth backtracking of, time looping, it was like, well, I'm lost. Forget it. So I think like they kind of outsmarted themselves a little bit and just threw away the narrative. And I think they got too silly with, some of the dynamics in the game, right? We're like flying around on fucking rails while shooting and shit. It's like, who the hell, who's programming that? You know what I mean? And the guy's like saying, the people aren't even going to be able to see it. You know what I mean? They're just zooming by and shooting and shit. It's like, oh yeah, but there's going to be like some small group of kids, right, that just become wizards at it and they're good at it. But it's like, it's like, I'm just like, get me off these rails. Yeah, I don't always use the advanced features of a game. It's like, well, which is the fire button? Yeah, how do I change weapons? Yeah, right. I was like trying to play like one of the Final Fantasy games because I loved seven, right? I think I played the one with Yuna. That one was okay. Yeah, might have been like in two parts. But then I tried to play like one of the later ones, one of the newer ones, and the battle system and the magic system was so retardedly complex. It was like, oh my God, there was an element for everything, and then every element had a season, and then every season had a particular talent, and you had to develop and you had to choose. So it's like you found a treasure. And it's like, you have two, skill points. And it's like now you're just brought into this fucking labyrinth maze of like options. And then like you go into battle and it's like, what will, which one of these options do you want to choose? And it's like, could I just choose the attack option? It's like, no, you just chose defend. Right. So I just had to like throw that game aside. So they made it overly complex. And I think, you know what? I think like maybe the Japanese can deal with it, but as an American, I just can't deal with too much complexity. And it's like, why are you doing this? It's like they're doing it intentionally to make it confusing. That was my experience of the later Final Fantasy games. I liked right before the battle scenes, or rather when you would perform a magical spell like in Final Fantasy 7 or like 9 or whatever it was. and they would just do these huge animations, like a giant dragon would get summoned up out of the ground, and it would come up, and suddenly fucking meteors would be coming down from the sky, raining down on him, and suddenly a big giant, samurai guy would come in with a giant sword and cut the enemies in half, and you'd see all the hit points. I liked that. That was pretty cool. Right. So that's all I wanted. I just wanted to go back to doing stuff like that. But I had to learn their whole, magic and skill system. And I couldn't do it. Right. So I'm like stuck on like level one. Like level one, you can ride a kookaboo or something. That's about it. I was playing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and my joystick would just die, right? My gamepad rather. So I'd get into the critical time in the game, and suddenly, all of a sudden I'd be like, please reconnect your controller. And the character would just lay there on the ground, right? And people would just start shooting him and shit. It was fucking horrible because he would just die. So I'd be sitting there like pressing the power button, like trying to get the power back on. Nope. It's just disconnected. And then someone in the background screaming, Snake, Snake. And I'm just like, it's like, I'm doing everything I can to just not take the fucking controller and just throw it and slam it across the room. Right. Because I'd been playing on the level for like an hour, like this level I'd been trying to clear for like 10 times. And now I'm like near the end of it and sneaking up on the last guard, and the controller dies. Right. And now my character just gets shot dead. Yeah. So I had to put that aside. Had to order a new controller. Right. So I ordered the cheapest controller on eBay. Okay. It's still not here. It's been like a month. It's still not here. It's on a slow boat from China. This controller of mine right now is still sitting in the middle of the South China Sea, on a boat. People are fucking dying on the boat and shit. Like the boat is like lost at sea. It's like a zombie ship. My controller's out there. Probably another couple months it'll get here. It'll just fucking like get into the trade winds and into the currents, and just like the ship will come in like a ghost ship into port, and then they'll find my controller and they'll ship it off. It'll get here like 6 months late. So be careful where you ship from. You know what I mean? It's like you think you're being smart because you're getting the controller for like $17 instead of $19, and it's like, no, that one's going to take 3 months to get here on the slow boat. Walking Dead is coming back. Man, what a fucking traumatic season this has been, huh? Yeah, dealing with Negan. I felt traumatized just watching that shit, It's like, I'm not watching this anymore. It's too traumatic. Like a scene with Negan's coming in, and I find myself getting all fucking nervous and shit. Right? That's how you know when they've created an effective drama, when your heart rate is going up with it. But I don't like it, man. I don't like it when those horrible surprises come at you. Yeah. So I looked ahead in the comics to find out what's going to happen. Not going to tell you. Especially with like what happened with Game of Thrones and the Red Wedding. And that, well, yeah, they filmed the responses. So those people knew what was going to happen, and they knew the response that it would get. So they filmed it. They didn't tell anybody. Yeah, but so at that point I was like, well, that was too traumatic, man. I felt like, they did it to me. So I looked ahead on that one too. Yeah, that's the thing, when you see something happening on screen and you identify with the characters, you like, some people look away and cringe because they're identifying with the whole situation. Of course, other people are looking at the situation, and they're getting all turned on and excited because they're identifying with the other character, right? And I don't think that like these two different worldviews I don't think that they can even understand that the other person exists with that worldview. So that when they encounter somebody who's coming at it from a different point of view, the only thing that they can think of is like, oh, that person must be a monster. So this is one of the problems that I have with the left, because they seem to be acting as if the people on the right are not aware of the arguments on the left. As if the people on the right have no humanity or compassion, right? It's like, well, don't you want to let in immigrants, and don't you want to give people welfare? And it's like, sure, but it doesn't work. I mean, even if you were to be of the mind of like, yeah, okay, compassion, help people, that's the most important thing, it doesn't work. It's not a practical concern. And they're unable to see it. They're unable to even look at it, because their life, their livelihood, their future depends on it being true. So it can't be false. And if you're saying it's false, then you must be evil. And it's like, no, I'm not evil. I thought as you thought once, but I played it out, and I looked at the examples in life, and I've studied the ideas behind it, and I've come to the realization that it doesn't work. It fosters an attitude of dependence. It actually creates a kind of cancerous cycle within a system of dependency and enabling behavior that it would never happen in a natural environment. It's just genetic. It's the only way that you can do it is if you subsidize it. And the only way that you can subsidize it is if some other group of people are carrying the burden and the responsibility. And whether you realize it or not, the people carrying that burden and that responsibility are men like me and you, MGTOW. That's what this is. And they can't even see it, So it's like, women only get 70 cents on the dollar to every man. And then they're in the streets, breaking windows. We lost, they stole the election, right? And then you're like, the men are getting circumcised. The little boys are getting circumcised. They're chemically sterilizing their brains because they won't sit still like a little girl in the classroom. And the female teacher is, giving them bad marks. And it's like, they can't even see it. They can't even look at it. And if you argue with the things that they think are important, which are critical to their survival, they've kind of created this shrine within their mind of these, ideas, then they react exactly as we're seeing the mainstream media react, as we're seeing the rioters react, as we see a woman who's getting a divorce when she decides to, just tell every dirty lie in the book and use the system. Because what's really going on is this gynocentric system, this applying of the female values and the female ethics to all situations. It trumps everything. So, that's a real nice, football league you got there. I understand you got yourself a big game coming up, huh? Lots of money betting on that game, riding on that game, huh? Sure would be a shame if you and your league got accused of being sexists, anti-feminist, of hating the women, huh? Maybe we take some of your players that had some sexual problems, maybe accused of rape. Maybe we accuse him, and then we play him out in the media. Yeah. I wonder how much your football league would lose then. So there it is, right? There's your feminist ideals, there's your feminist values working their way into the system. And if you don't agree with that, I suppose that we could accuse you of hating women or not wanting to have sex with women. So that's all it is. It's a strong arm technique used by women on men. And men are generally, at least a certain group of men, are so good that they don't even see the trap, because it works both ways, this kind of blindness. Yes, that's right. We're speaking about a certain type of blindness in human beings. And I'm sure you're all familiar with, the William James uh, treaty on this particular subject. So there's probably no need for me to go into it. But, the thing is that the things that the feminist, the leftist, and the globalist thinks are important, uh, everybody's feelings, including everybody, having these kind of humanistic, leftist, globalistic, socialistic ideals for the group, not being overly aggressive or masculine, right? But then if you threaten those views, then they become, very like female hostile. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say about it. No problem. It should come back to me, or it never will. I don't know. I've got to give me a moment here. Hmm. So this is how someone like Anita Sarkeesian gets to operate at all. This is what a professional victim is. A protest industry is. This is one of the ways that that women get money is by playing the victim, and it is the man's nature to sacrifice, to protect, to provide, to do all these things, and to trust. So yeah, you're looking at the woman and there's like that strange smile on her face. Well, there you go. If she comes to you and she's in trouble or she's sniffling or she's starting to cry, there you go. Now, if it was a man and he was starting to cry, you wouldn't feel any of the things. You'd still be suspicious. You'd still be very, careful, things like that. But if it's a woman, no, it's going to cause a whole different reaction within the man. So we are not equal. We don't even respond to each other equally. Right. So when a woman steps up at the job and she says, men and women are equal, I can do anything that a man can do. Nobody's better than me. When she says that, and she says it like that, she's 5'2". If a man that size with that attitude stood up and said that, we'd laugh at him so hard that he would never stand up again until he was, really fucking certain of his position. He would never assert anything like that. He would get such a shaming. But if a woman does it, oh, can't say anything. Can't do anything. It's like, yeah, yeah, sure. You're just as good as I am. Sure you are. So understand that there's a physiological price to be paid right there. So the men are shamed and they feel like shit and it destroys their physiology. And if you say the same thing to a woman, you know what it does to her physiology? Nothing. Not a thing. But they'll still be able to play football. It doesn't unnerve. But this is how this female socialistic, feminine popularity contest mindset permeates into all aspects of our world and is like just ripping our civilization to pieces. That's how it does it. It's just built into us. And it's the road that we all go down, the blue pill road, worshiping women, loving our group, just no matter what, right? It's the road that we go down. And MGTOW is about the awareness, these ideas, just it's about a lot of things, right? But basically, it's about this awareness for the man that no, they don't love you. You're part of a system that's designed to use you up. You're intimidated, you're manipulated, you're controlled, into this worshiping of the female and of the female values just to get ahead, not, just to like not cause any trouble. And there's a price to be paid for adopting those values. It's devastating for a man. He might be successful at it. Then again, he might be accused of, sexual harassment. So the success that he has, that he may or may not have, it has nothing to do with his abilities, right? So it's like saying to the men that, and the most important thing that you're going to have to do in life, guys, is make sure that you don't piss off any little princess bitch. You want to be a brain surgeon? You want to be an engineer? You want to be a lawyer? You want to be a politician? You want to be a builder? No. First and foremost, don't make that little girl angry. That's your first job, because on that, your life depends. That's what they'll kick you out of school for. If you make a mistake at the office, that's what they'll fire you for. So now, which is more important? Your job, the skills associated with your job, or making sure you don't upset that little princess bitch? Which is more important? Because, there it is. So that's how the men are running around. They can't even focus on what's important. They can't even learn their skills. They can't even get ahead. Looks like a nice bright future you got there for you moving forward. Would be a shame if something happened to it. Would be a shame if some woman came along and accused you of something. So that's the pressure that a man is under all the time. So it's like, what do you think we should do on this project? What do you think we should do on this job? And it's like, and you better be careful how you answer what you say. Hey, Traversable, thanks for stopping by. I'm just glancing at the chat. So the men are under this ridiculous pressure. The women have this trump card. It fades as they get older, but they're entrenched by that time. The whole system is gynocentric. The whole school system is gynocentric. The whole government system is gynocentric. The whole corporate, most of the, company world, or at least, the human resources departments is gynocentric. The companies themselves, unless they have a deal with the government, unless they have to be competitive. They have to be governed by reality. They have to deal with real world situations in a real world market. So you're going to need capable people there. You're going to need, but we're running out of them. How much longer is are men going to want to fulfill this role before we go, the way of the Japanese man, the herbivore man, where they don't even want to participate, but this is what I was talking about a little earlier. Don't lose hope personally in your individual life, because that's what they want to do. They want to break the individual man from his dreams, from his hopes, and from his life. What do you care about the system? What do you care about the nature of women? What do you care about the corruption of other people? Let's say you like to paint. Let's say you like to ride a bike. Let's say you like to skydive. Let's say you like to write. So go ahead, do those things. Build a life around those things. You can do that. You can be great at those things. You can change the world. Won't be easy, it's the challenge of a lifetime. But you don't have to give up on those things just because, a large part of the system is unfair. So you're just not going to work in that part of the system. You're not going to deal in that part of the system. You're going to go MGTOW. And this is what I was talking about with women should go MGTOW too. Not really, you know what I mean? But they shouldn't participate in a corrupt system, and they're going to have to. The system that the women are participating in that favors women and has been crippling men for the last 40, 50 years. And if you don't agree with that, we can just accuse you of hating women and not being a real man. So, you got to pretty much go along with me on all this. I'm sorry. Coffee time. Staying free. Hey, man, thanks for stopping by. Let's see who else is here. No, that's not fair. Everybody's here. I appreciate everybody stopping by and hanging out. I think my voice is breaking up though. I've got my coffee, got my lemonade and stuff like that. Oh, Veritech, thanks for stopping by too, dude. Yeah, good, good. Let's see. Yeah, some people have to have their messages deleted, man. That's it. You guys got to do what you got to do. I trust you. Some people go crazy, man. They lose control of their emotions. I know. I know it's a difficult situation. I know it, pisses a person off and everything like that. But, like sometimes I have to delete comments and things like that because somebody's just screaming. And it's like they're responding to the video. So it's like I'm glad that they're responding to the video, but it's like, no, 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 you can't say that. You can't say it that way. But the point I want to make about it is that as a man, as a MGTOW, you have to bring your emotions under control. You can't let yourself get oh so upset. Sure, get angry. Of course, tap into your passions, harness them, but don't let them control you. It's like a fire. Let it burn, man. Use it, harness it, but don't let it destroy everything. And I can't always take that advice myself. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm saying things that it's like, yeah, I wish I could do that. So I don't know that I've clarified the ideas that I was talking about in my videos because they're pretty complex. As I said, we're blind to the other worldview. Now, the feminist, leftist, globalist worldview, it's wrong. It's self-serving. It is anti-reality. It really is. It wants to say that their feelings and how they think the world should be should determine and dictate things. Now, we do shape the world to our, desires and our will. We make things better, but we can't hold people emotionally hostage. Now, women can do that. A very attractive woman, she can do that. She can control the world by, using the power of her sexuality. And a child can do that over its dependent by using the power of the responsibility that the parent has to the dependent. But can citizens do that? Can citizens in a democracy do that? And the answer is yes. They vote themselves welfare. It's like, well, not a bad idea. It's humane, it's decent. If you're dealing with a group of people that are honest, that are truthful about it, these systems that are in place that are destroying us, they work fine. They're good systems if you've got honest people. If you've got people who are using the system in the case of an emergency. Yeah, they're they're great systems. They're the right thing to do, aren't they? Of course they are. But not if you have a bunch of people who just want to take advantage of them. And then, look at the numbers. You get 10 people paying into a welfare system, and you get 100 people wanting to live off that welfare system. And then when you vote those policies out of office, those 100 people put on, black masks and take to the streets and start busting windows and start saying, you're a racist. So that's what we're experiencing. And if you say, hey, you're out of line, they say, what, do you hate the women? What do you, do you hate the other races? And you're like, no, no, I don't hate women. I'm a good man. So it's tied to this most basic fundamental aspects of our of our identity. And these attacks, they have physiological effects upon the men. Testosterone is, it's an environment related thing. If the female bitch is yelling at you all day long, man, it's going to ruin your health as a man. You know, it's amazing, right? Sometimes I see women and they act like men would never act. Like a little woman comes marching over with an attitude, screaming at people, giving orders, shit like that. The men are just looking around like confused, like, what? They're smiling and shit like that. And it's like, oh, she doesn't know. You don't get to walk over to a group of men and act that way. I mean, you can do it, but they're just kind of smirk at you and kind of look around. And it's like, oh, this person thinks they're in charge. It's like, yeah, okay. They're in charge. They're in charge. As long as they're here and as long as, they have some sort of authority, they're in charge. And that's why the men smile and smirk and look around at their feet, because when the person leaves, it's like, you know, that person actually thinks they're in charge. So then another man approaches this group of men and it's a completely different dynamic. You know what I mean? It's like and it doesn't take time or anything like that. It's just like he's not marching over there to give them orders. Or if he is, he already has the authority to do it. You know what I mean? They already know it's coming. It just works in a totally different way. It's like the man is coming over and he's saying, do I have your cooperation? And the guys are saying, yeah, you've got our cooperation. What do you need? And the guy's saying, okay, this is what I need. Whereas if the woman is coming over and she's like, you must respect my authority. I'm in charge here and there's going to be trouble. And it's like, if there was going to be trouble, it wouldn't be for any of the men. you know you can see this in the rioters too. You know what I mean? It's like, we're angry, there's gonna be trouble. And it's like, if there was really gonna be trouble, you kids would need a lot of help. There's a video of that where a guy is breaking through one of the anti-fada picket lines, and he's a working man, and like one of the kids takes a swipe at him and he just fucking unloads, right? He's not going to take it, so he just throws a few shots out there, you know and it's just like a girl in a little mask, she's crying and stuff. And then they're the riders and are complaining, he hit me, he hit me. And it's like, oh, it's so pathetic. It's just so pathetic. And this is all born, this stuff is born out of just retarded entitlement. You know what I mean? A strong, hardworking man, he wouldn't engage in any of this behavior. It's like these guys in the streets with their clubs running around and shit like that. You want to know why they're running around and doing their thing? Because they want fucking free welfare. That's why. They want free stuff and they feel like they're not going to get it. That's why. So they're not even men who are willing to work for themselves. They're like older males that want to be taken care of, that are still boys and not even willing to, act and try to be men. But like, no, they're just going to break things and pitch a fit until a man actually has to come and like hold them down on the ground and take them away and put them in a pen, and tell them what to wear and tell them when to shower and what to eat and when to go to sleep, because he just can't control his emotions. So don't lose it, guys. Don't get too angry. Just be smart. Know what's going on. That's what my videos are about. I want you to know what's going on. I want you to know that there's this big giant trick being played on men. And that some whore is just, set of tits. That's it. With a smile. And you're not even attracted to her. You're just attracted to the physiological reaction that it causes within you. And as soon as you have an orgasm, you'll be like, can you go make me a sandwich? Can you stop talking? You'll be like that. It's like, I want to watch the game. Like, yeah. Right. And she's just going to keep talking at that point. It's like, yeah, but you said, you're like, no, I just said that stuff because, So if I had to predict what's going to happen, there will be sex robots. But here's the thing, I don't want to have sex with a robot. I know a lot of you guys are thinking, will she be lifelike and realistic? And here's the thing, I don't care. I'm old fashioned. I just don't want to have sex with a robot. I'm afraid that the machine will go haywire. Right? Or maybe it'll be like a pay as you go situation, right? Where you have to like put a credit card into the robot and then you can like, go at it. But then like right in the middle, it like runs out of money and you get stuck. Because it would just be exploited like crazy. And that's what it is, right? Like I'm making a joke about the situation, but that's really not so far from the situation we have right now, is it? It might as well just be a robotic machine that men have to put their money into just to like, get affection and love from. That's women I'm talking about. And then as the man starts to run out of money, you know what I mean? She starts withholding the sex, withholding the affection. That is the game. So I suppose it might as well be a machine. No, my idea is not even like a robot, but more like a super high end doll. And you can program it to have like basic moods, right? So like you could, like tell it to be complimentary, you know, that's it. So it wouldn't really be able to interact. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have to be smart. It wouldn't have to have any sort of artificial intelligence or anything like that. It would just have to be able to look real and say things like, I hope you had a nice day today. Stuff like that. You're so smart. That shirt looks good on you. I'll bet you could fix it. Stuff like that. you know, you wouldn't have to dance with it. You wouldn't have to do anything with it. It would just be pleasant. And then, be like a sex bot also. And that's my idea. That's all it has to do. So it doesn't have to be any sort of a super advanced thing. And then, the man would just take it and put it in the closet, set it into some sort of self cleaning mode, like a dishwasher. That's a little gross. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. Let's see what's going on in the chat section here. Just hanging out. I really don't have any sort of like a big plan or anything like that for these podcasts. Like I said, it just gives me a real nice opportunity to, flesh out some of the ideas that I talked about in my videos because I really, you just can't do it in a 10-minute video. And this is also part of my idea where, like a MGTOW content producer might come up with like a really good idea and then he makes his 10-15 minute video and then nobody watches it and then it's done and it's over, and it's like, no, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? So I think that he can take that same idea and just kind of like keep repeating it, you know different ways, trying to get that idea across. And that's what I tend to do throughout like a whole week. And the idea was gynocentrism, female values dominating every aspect of our society and civilization. And it plays out like in our individual interactions. You know what I mean? Like you meet a guy for the first time. It's like, oh, hey man, how you doing? So what do you like to do? It's like, well, I like to, chase women. It's like, well, what do you like to do? It's like, well, I used to chase women, but then she accused me of, a crime, and now I avoid women and I build up my career. And if I were to meet like a really nice woman that was really agreeable to me, I might be interested in her. But 9 out of 10 women in the game they're playing, I could care less about it. It kind of makes me sick, And that guy, that you've just met, this imaginary scenario, he looks at the other guy, who says, he's not interested in the women. And he says, well, what's the matter with you? Are you gay? What do you do? Do you have sex with animals? I'm sorry. But he uses this whole shame idea. So even the idea that you don't worship the women, boom, that's it. And that's the measure of masculinity in our society largely. So yeah, they really are entitled princess bitches. Seeing as how every man they run into will almost, kill himself, or certainly will kill the man next to him. So that's what they're smiling about too. And the man, because of this certain type of blindness where the feminist can't see the real practical side of the man's point of view, and the leftist can't see it either, the globalist, the socialist, he can't see the point of view that I'm trying to get across to him. That I understand his compassion and his humanity and doing the right thing for his brother man and all that bullshit. But the problem is, it doesn't work. You can only provide the opportunity for your fellow man, and the rest is up to him. You can lead the horse to water. You can't make it drink. You don't even want to make it drink. If it doesn't want to drink, don't let it drink. Don't make a big deal out of it. It's like, no, we have to be the certain way. It's like, no, we don't. It's like, oh, we have to take care of everybody. No, we don't. Some people don't want to be taken care of. Like Obamacare, we have to take care of everybody. It's like, no, we don't. And you're saying that if I don't go along with this, I'm a criminal? It's like, that's like triple retarded. It really is. And it compounds itself. It's not only like triple retarded, but then at each step, it compounds the retardation of itself. It's like passing a law that says people can't spit on the street, right? You've got an epidemic, okay? You've got tuberculosis breaking out all over the place, right? How do you solve the problem? Well, governor, whatever, suggests that, well, we make it illegal for people to spit, right? Okay. That might help. You know what I mean? It really might help, because that's what the people are doing. They're walking around and they're spitting all over the place because they're coughing up their lungs. Right? If you could just stop the people from doing that, you'd stop the epidemic, wouldn't you? So now you've got to hire a bunch of fucking policemen, right? And you know what they got to monitor? They have to monitor people spitting, right? And what are they going to do? After a person spits, they're going to what? Run over to them? You see what I mean? So this is back to my systems analyst, point of view, worldview. It doesn't work. Okay, I'm sorry. So you may have this goal of stopping the outbreak of influenza, but that's not the solution. But if you go forward with it, it leads to this, to all these other problems, retarded problems. And that's what we're looking at. And the reason why the women can get away with it is because, don't you like women? Aren't you a real man? What are you saying, that we shouldn't take care of the women? So our very nature goes along with it. And that's why she's smiling. And that's why the man is stepping up all proud and feeling like, hey, little lady, let me take care of that. And that's why she's smiling and grinning and letting him do it. And he doesn't see what she sees, and she doesn't see what he sees. He needs to see what she sees, and she needs to see what he sees, but they don't. And that's what MGTOW is here for. It's here to try to teach men to see what the women already know. And that is that the man is being an idiot. He's being manipulated by his own nature. And a part of his nature is just so damn good that he can't even see it. And she's being manipulated by her own nature too. And she's, she needs these resources so badly. It's such a fundamental part of what she is, but she can't really see it. Isn't it sad? Haven't you often said to yourself, there's this really attractive woman that the man cares about, but she doesn't recognize him as a worthy guy, but he's a real nice guy. She recognizes the bad boy. Maybe he's got a little bit of money because he's breaking the law or something like that, or he's taking some sort of shortcut. So she can't recognize the value in that simple man's affections. She just wants to get as much money as she can get right now. And this is part of the female nature. And it makes sense. And she's not oh so loyal to any one particular man. And if she's got a child, she's really not oh so loyal to any one particular thing, but she's loyal to whatever she needs to be loyal to in order to take care of her child. Again, it makes sense. But it's not sustainable, is it? She becomes a whore, doesn't she? And the entire resources of a civilization go towards taking care of a bunch of single mothers. So she can't even see it. She can't see, then the nature of life and reality becomes a bunch of whores. She can't see it. And what is it that the man can't see? Because he loves her, because he wants to be a real man, because he wants to fulfill, his instincts, right? Understandable. And if you're not like going along with that as a man, what's the matter with you? Don't you like women? Are you gay? So it's going to destroy you. It's going to destroy civilization. But don't you like women? What, are you gay? So there it is, right? That's what he can't see. It's going to destroy civilization. But don't you like women? So the man isn't even able to build himself up as a man. He's not able to say, what do I care about some whore? I'm an independent man. Nobody's going to take care of me. I got to build a business. I got to build an empire. I got to build an industry. I got to look after my people, my friends, my concerns, my dreams, my hopes. Fuck the government. Fuck the group. And I don't mean like, I'm going to hurt the group. I just mean like, hey, I'm going to go build my house. Okay. If I need a little wood or something like that, I need a little help. I'll contact you and I'll make some sort of a deal. I'll make some sort of an exchange. Okay. And you can do the same with me. Okay. That's all so that's what the man needs to do. That's what reality is based on. Probably not going to be able to do that. He has to go chase after, the woman and make sure she's happy and satisfy his wants and needs. Anyway, it's a complex subject, right? There's a lot involved in it, isn't there? It's this, dealing with our own nature on both sides, on both the male and the female side of it. And it's a dynamic, you know what I mean? It's not even just like, oh, well, here's the situation. Nope. It's a fucking dynamic. And it's not even like a one-to-one direct relationship dynamic. It's this complex, interaction. And if things can balance out, men and women can get along. They can build a future. They can build families. They can build a sustainable future, that's healthy, that is both suitable to both the man and the woman, to the children, to the state, to the industry. And, it's in competition with other countries. You should know that. that the interests of that which I just described, and then another country with a different currency, if you wind up on the wrong side of a trade deal, okay, your people are going to lose jobs and their people are going to gain jobs. So it's a type of warfare. And if you wind up too far on the wrong side of it, it's horrible. It's unacceptable. So there's these two mindsets, right? One, this very masculine mindset, one, this very dependent mindset. You can't hate this feminine dependent mindset because as a child, you'd have to have it. As a woman who's pregnant, you'd have to have it. As somebody who needs a little help or falls down once in a while, you'd have to have it. As somebody who catches a cold once in a while, you have to have it. We all catch a cold. We all get sick. So it's this balance of this system. And it's out of balance right now. It's too far on the female side. And as I said, neither side can see the other side. Or it's very difficult. They don't want to see it, or they can't see it, or or maybe it's a mercy and it's kept hidden from them. Which that makes sense, right? It's like, how are you going to know your way through the maze until you've already been through the maze? You can't say you might get lucky and make your way through the maze, but you can't say, oh yeah, I know my way through this maze. No, you don't. You just took the path that you took and you happened to make it out of the maze. And you when you encounter problems, you backtracked really well and things like that. And you persisted, but you didn't know your way through the maze. But the practices that you developed, the character that you developed, the discipline that you executed enabled you to get through the maze. But you didn't know your way. So it's very difficult, right? That's what I'm saying there. And this is where MGTOW and the idea of men helping men and wisdom comes in handy again. And this is one of the reasons why women denigrated and insulted. This is one of the reasons why the men are like, what are you men getting together in a group for? Are you gay? It's like, no, we just don't like seeing our fellow man destroyed, and we don't want to be destroyed ourselves. So we're getting together and we're pooling our knowledge, we're pooling our resources, we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. I'm a smart guy. What went wrong? You're a smart guy. What went wrong? And, the answer is in many cases, nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right, and it all still went wrong. And this is another thing that the younger guy can't even see it. He can't even admit it. You know what I mean? Well, it's really hard in some cases. I mean, he can, but in some cases, they just can't. So what's the point of me getting into an argument with someone like that in my comments section for? It's like, no, I'm just going to go make a video. It's like, good luck to you, buddy. And, and meanwhile, he's saying to me, what, are you not a real man? And I'm just like, not even going to argue, not going to fight back. And I'm just saying, yeah, good luck to you, man. Good luck to you, guy. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough. I think I made a few good points, clarified, a few things. No, I just made a lot more, I just made it a lot more confusing. I'm sorry. Yeah, these Friday nights are hard though. I wonder what the best night for podcasts is. Maybe Wednesday night. I don't know. But I'm probably going to find out. I'm probably going to be able to figure it out. That's another part of what I'm doing here. I'm just experimenting. I'm just playing around. So, like, get those fucking expectations in order. Just back off with those expectations. And that's a good policy, right? I like that from a MGTOW point of view. Get those expectations back in order, bitch. That's always a good one, too. And you can tell that so fast. Like, you can just size up who you're dealing with the minute you just start to deal with them, It's like, oh, shit. no, we're not going to get anything over on this guy, not one single bit. And it's like, oh, okay, I can tell this guy a few jokes. Okay, it's like, oh, if we pretend to cry, this guy will jump through the hoops. I've mentioned the story happened recently. I was hanging out in a fast food place, and some crazy immigrant woman who's like walking around in her bedclothes is like trying to buy some orange juice and a egg McMuffin or something, and she doesn't have enough money, and she's playing dumb, so she's just like holding out 75 cents, and the cashier's looking at it and saying, "No, you need $1.20." And the woman is like, she hasn't even combed her hair, so she's just making these noises with her hands, saying, "Ah." She doesn't speak English, right? She just, I don't know. I don't know. The U.S. government flew her here first class. Um, so yeah, now she's just walking around the McDonald's, right, with her hand out in her bedclothes, making noises, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, "You gotta fucking be kidding me, man!" It's just like, don't even, you know. It's like a dog looking for table scraps. Not that a human being is a dog, but like she just doesn't even look at me, you know. And she looks over at this other guy, and I swear to God, the guy panicked like a deer caught in the headlights. Man, he starts tapping his pockets looking for change, and then he was like, "No, I don't have any change. Oh God." And he looked like he was gonna die. He was looking around the room like he was fucking panicking, like he was having a heart attack. He's tapping his pockets all up and down. And then he like looks at her and he holds up his hand and he holds up his finger, like, 1 second, 1 second. And he's trembling and he runs out of the fucking place and he runs to his car. He's digging around in his car and he finds some change. And he comes running back into the place and he puts the money into the woman's hand. She doesn't even look at him. She doesn't even say thank you. You know what I mean? She just takes the money and just turns around and buys her food, right? And the guy's like looking around, like, yeah, gonna get me some tonight. And it was just this dirty immigrant woman. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like combing her hair and shit. So that's how deeply ingrained it is, you know? And you know his mommy taught him right, you know? She taught him right. And he was looking at me like, what are you, not a real man? What, you know, are you gay? It's like, my God, I didn't even want to smell that woman, you know? It's like I started to growl at her just when she started like walking in my direction. That's something else I've been starting to do. Not growl at people, but it's like, what the fuck, you know? Like, I don't want you hanging around me. You know, like she's gonna come over near me, you know, moaning and groaning, looking for a free handout. She's got a bad hip, you know. She's got a fucked up eye. She's got the sniffles and stuff like that. Why is she looking at me and like, he'll help me? It's like, no, I won't. You know. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. You just look at the person, like, oh no, no, no. And yet, if you actually needed help and you looked at me sincerely, I'd probably help you. But, you know, a bum who won't even help themselves, no, I see no reason to help them. I don't even like them coming near me. I really liked Red Pill Germany's video where he tried to help out Tom McCormick of his one-itis, right? Everybody throughout MGTOW tried to do a video to help out Tom. That's what kind of people MGTOW are. You know, they see another man in trouble, they see him suffering, they make an effort to help him. And each one of the videos, like I said, takes a few hours at least. Yeah, but Red Pill Germany, he did a summary of the classic, and you know, it was just great stuff. I would like to do book reviews and stuff like that, but man, nobody watched those videos when I did it. It's like, no, it was terrible. It was just terrible. You can only do the type of videos that you can do, you know? And it takes a while. It takes a while to figure it out and find it. That's why I like regular content. You know, it's like, well, if you want to get good at the guitar, go ahead and practice the guitar every day or 2 or 3 times a day. Sorry. Give me a second, please. Fucking cold coffee. Cold coffee, and I said this in my other podcast, is like a woman with a bad attitude. It's fucking useless, you know? Where the hell did women ever get the idea that they could adopt an attitude of hating men? That's retarded. It's like, change your own tire, bitch. As a matter of fact, why are you even riding around in a car? You didn't build it. No woman built it. Why are you walking around on the roads and using the roads? No woman built those things. Why are you using the air conditioner? No woman built it. Stupid bitch. Claiming equality, claiming this, claiming that. It's retarded. It's the truth. So when you encounter one of these women that, wants to act like she's better than a man and she's denigrating a man, deal with her, be polite, and then just get the hell away from her, and don't deal with her, don't chat with her, don't interact with her, don't smile at her. Don't even sniff the air around her because it's a sick woman. Women should be respectful towards men, and men should be, careful and somewhat gentle towards women. Yeah, well, there goes my MGTOW credibility, man. Right? That's it. He's a trad con. That's it. No, if a woman is willing to act like, decently, yeah, you should act decently as a man. You shouldn't be heavy handed. But if it's some feminist bitch who doesn't even realize what's going on, now you still got to keep your cool. You still got to be smart. You still got to watch what you say. Don't lose your temper. You're not among friends in that situation. You're at the office, you're at a social situation. No, man, watch your words. But recognize that what's being played is, on the one hand, the man's instinct to reproduce and to be a man in the traditional sense, and then the entitled princess bitch who just wants everything and will tell every dirty lie that she can to anybody at any given moment. And she might not even be able to see this. She might not even be able to see how fucking evil it is and how she's actually like turning her back on the good man. And she's embracing a whole bunch of behavior that, will lead to the destruction of her civilization, the destruction of her genetic line, and the destruction of her own individual life by her own hand, even. You know what I mean? She will just overindulge herself. She'll just become diabetic and get breast cancer, and die with her fucking cats and shit like that. And it's like, no, bitch, you should have fucking had a decent attitude towards a good man. You should have found a really good, strong man. You should have built him up. You should have stood by his side. And now you'd be in really good shape. You know what I mean? And so would he. And you'd have, your family, your kids, your business, your future, your industry, your empire. You'd have all that. You'd have your security. You'd have all those things that women want. But no, you fucking said you were just as good as a man, and you neglected the decent, good, honest, noble man with virtues, and you went for the man that just gave you the most money or had the most resources at the moment, and you exposed yourself as a whore. You gave into your own female nature, which should have been checked. And throughout most intelligent civilizations, it is checked. It's female sexuality that has to be checked. You have to check male sexuality too, right? Otherwise, the men would just go out and, they would just fuck everything. So, you got to check them both. And the degree to which you can check it, is probably going to be the degree to which you are successful and that you can discipline yourselves largely. So when you have rampant female sexuality, the slut walks and things like that, your civilization is in a lot of trouble. When you have rampant male sexuality, I guess you're at war. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it's an interesting dynamic. You know what I mean? Yeah. Too bad I'm not smart enough to do those types of videos. Yeah, there's other MGTOW content producers that are smarter than me, much smarter. Yeah. But I'm getting there, you know. There's the idea. Um, just a set of variables and their relationships. And once the man, has that understanding of things, he's able to maneuver and navigate the situation so much better. And without it, he's just like that proud, stupid guy. It's like, hey, I'll bet you're not brave enough to go out there and take all the chances and then, give us all of the resources. Only a real man would do that. You're not gay, are you? And all of a sudden, the young man, he's going out there, and he's taking all the chances. And he's giving over all the resources. And then they say to him, no, you're a real man. You're not gay. But they don't care about him. That was the game. That was the play. And he doesn't know it. And he doesn't want to know it. He can't see it. And they can't see that, they're destroying the future. They're destroying their own civilization. Because they're destroying the foundation of it. The good men, the strong men, the virtues, the values. That's what we're experiencing right now. And someone like Trump is the reassertion of these things. And to those of you that are hearing that and saying, oh, Howard's, just an idiot. No, I'm talking about practical things here. I'm talking about, oh, you were supposed to fix the economy, but now we're, 20 trillion in debt, right? Just the results. Your results suck ass. So you did the wrong thing. I was like, no, I did the right thing. It's like, no, you did the wrong thing because your results suck ass. It's like, well, I did the right thing, but my results suck ass. And it's like, well, that's an improvement. It's like, well, maybe you thought you did the right thing morally, in some weird way, but whatever it is you did, it didn't produce the results that you needed it to produce. So, wrong thing. Just resting, just taking care of a couple little things. Hey, Gentlefist Brewer, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, hating women is irrational, but I still do. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe hating them is not irrational. Maybe hating them, maybe it's a rational thing to do, to hate them when you see all that they're wasting. And as I said, two different sides, same nature, right? They don't see that they're indulging their female gynocentrism and behaving as whores and throwing away all the values of a civilization. And the men don't see in chasing after the sex and being willing to do whatever the women want to do in order to get sex, that they're being duped, that they're being played, that they are becoming disposable resources, mangina cucks, and they have no spine and they have no virtue. They don't live out their virtues. They don't build a future. They just chase after the whore. But he thinks he's doing the right thing, right? He thinks he's being a real man. It's like, no, you have to show her, you have to put her in her place. You have to show her. You have to show her how to behave, to not just be this materialistic, security-based, greedy, whore-like creature. She doesn't have these higher ennobling things built into her nature because she's not strong enough, she's not smart enough, she's not fast enough. So she can't afford to have these virtues. She has to have these practical concerns. She has to rely upon, these other kind of, stronger. And she has to hope that, there's a halfway decent man among them. And there's plenty of them. The majority of them are. We come from decent men. You came from men that were completely willing to sacrifice. You really did. Largely. And then when you look at the evolutionary biology aspect of it, you can see how all these negative traits would, multiply, right? It's like, well, here's a guy who's willing to fucking cheat everybody and stab them in the back and have sex with other people's wives. I was like, well, shit, he's going to have 20 kids. It's like, well, here's a guy who's always going to tell the truth. He's always honest. He'll always keep his word. He'll never betray anybody. And it's like, well, he'll be lucky if he even has one kid. So you can see, but have faith. Doesn't really work that way, right? Because the guy who's behaving in that horrible manner, he destroys himself. He goes to jail. He gets a sexual disease. He causes all types of problems. MGTOW, he meets up with a woman that is his equal. But that other guy, if you'll just keep working hard, virtue becomes its own reward. It becomes self-fulfilling. In other words, he doesn't get the job he wants. He doesn't get the woman he wants. And he has to work really hard to just get by. Sounds like a bad deal, doesn't it? But then he gets strong enough to get by. Right? He's not looking for an easy thing. He's not looking to cheat. And then he gets better at it. Then he gets to relax a little bit. And then he gets to bring his real skills to bear on it. So you see, the good guy, it's the only way forward. It really is. I mean, there's no other way forward. If you're not a good guy, you're going to get wiped out. You're going to do something stupid. You're going to cross the wrong people. Now, if you're a good guy, you're going to get screwed over. You're going to meet up with the wrong people, and they're going to take advantage of all your things. But you're hopefully going to, get away and rebuild. And that's, the way I kind of look at it. I'd like to do better. Well, and what happens is, I guess, is that, you just get enough experience and then you get better at it and you're still a nice guy. Like Morgan in The Walking Dead, right? I wonder if he's going to lose it. See, I haven't looked ahead too far. I just kind of know the basic plot as to what's going to happen. But I wonder if Morgan's going to lose his calm and, his serenity. I wonder if Negan's going to force that out of him. Yeah. That's a great show. But it's a great show because it talks about human conflict. You know what I mean? The greatness about it isn't, somebody got their head bit off. It's the human conflict. So it's always a show about people. You know what I mean? Now, could you elicit the same sort of drama if the show was about running a wine business? Two families competing and running a wine business? Probably not. Or maybe. It's just a question of how you're going to come at it. Certainly, I guess, well, what is it that appeals to people, to the majority of people in this day and age? And this is going to be a younger audience. So, yeah, it's a zombie story. My name isn't fucking Howard Dean. It's Howard Dare. Yeah, no big deal. Hey, Grizzly, thanks for stopping by, man. Yeah, aptly named. Yeah, so I don't want to make people angry and shit like that. I want to give people insight, kind of like, oh, I see you're going into the gamble. I see you're stepping out onto the gambling floor, right? This is what I want to be able to do for guys, and it'd be like, okay, well, you need to know that the wheel is crooked. Okay, the roulette wheel is crooked. The dice are crooked. The blackjack game is crooked. The poker game is crooked. And the food is way overpriced because, and it's free. So just so you know, right? And your best bet is to, not play. But there's no fun there, right? There's no fun there at all. So what do you guys think? You think Lady Gaga is going to mention Trump in any way? You think she's going to like do an audio visual thing, where she expresses herself, where she wears a shirt that says "I support Hillary," where she wears a shirt that says "No fascism," where she, does a fascist-based song? They're taking bets, man. Vegas is on this. What are the odds? What do you have to bet, to get your money back? Because she's probably going to do something, right? She's not going to be able to resist herself. There's over 100 million people watching. MGTOW, right? That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say, Howard Dare, MGTOW, subscribe. Right? And you'd come back here, and the next day, this channel would have 250,000 subscribers. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's a fantasy dream for me. I think I'm coming up on 3 million views, right? Yeah, I'm excited. But what I do is I get excited about every milestone. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is because I hate being bummed. So if I'm sitting there at one, I'm like, I can't wait until I get to two. And if I'm sitting there at nine, see, I always make it a really small milestone too. You know what I mean? So I'm not like looking at it and saying, gee, man, I can't wait until I get to 50,000. No, 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 no. That would just be insane. I would be all depressed. So here, let me tell you what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. See, I'm at, blah, blah, 887. Okay. So I'm really excited about getting to 900. Okay. Or rather, I'm even really excited about getting to 870. I'm at 866, and I am really excited about getting to 870. See what I mean? And when I get to 870 from 866, I'm going to be like, woohoo, I did it. I made it. And then, it'll just be another small little part. And that way I get all these little mini celebrations, all these little success stories going all the time. Yeah, you could say I'm tricking myself, but you could do the opposite. You know what I mean? Like you could always just look at every achievement and say, "Ah, fuck, it's not enough." Yeah. So a lot of money is going to be bet on whether or not Lady Gaga says anything. I say she's saying something. One way or another, she's going to say something. She won't be able to resist herself. Have you guys seen the video of the Ashley Judd speech done over to Star Trek? Right? Oh, it's fucking hysterical. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, Star Trek. There it is. Let's see. Well, yeah, if you just do a search on Ashley Judd Star Trek, it'll show up here in the search. It's a real nice use of video. Um, it's a smart use. You do the same thing. Uh, I'm looking at a few others that might actually. Oh, wait a minute. Ashley Judd's role in Star Trek: The Next Generation. So she was actually in The Next Generation. It looks like she's playing a little, like a love interest for Wesley. Hmm. Yeah. So check that out. It's pretty funny though. And you know what? I really liked the messages, the political messages within Star Trek and Star Trek: The Next Generation. I really did. So I bet we could do a lot of interesting videos using Captain Picard and superimposing it with feminists. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great idea, the Star Trek, the Starship Captain, stuff like that. I have some animated videos on the idea of it, right? Yeah, because you're basically the captain of your life and your situation. And hopefully you've got a good, strong ship, that's responsive and has offensive and defensive weapons. And yeah, we could go all over the place with this metaphor. I have to go heat up my coffee. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So I know something I want to tell you guys about, something really awesome, totally awesome for me. Um, One of the people that I really looked up to on YouTube, um, YouTube content creator, not a MGTOW content creator, not per se, not directly MGTOW, but really very MGTOW in his ideas, his approach, his attitude, and everything like that. And yeah, he just like recognized my channel and just said hello and stuff like that. Um, and his channel helped inspire me to make this channel totally. And if you're familiar with his channel, you can even recognize some of the things that I do are a tribute to him and his channel. And that the channel that I'm talking about here is Sub LBC, and he's a cannabis grower. And but he's a YouTube content creator. He's really good at this stuff. Outstanding technical production skills, outstanding um, entrepreneurial skills, communication skills, really, really strong political message, really strong anti-establishment message, really strong pro-male message, really strong, distrusting of this whole female bullshit feminist message. And it's not necessarily MGTOW, you know what I mean? So it's just this really strong MGTOW message, eh, but from a different point of view. And it's anti-establishment too, you know what I mean? Like, this guy is he's standing up to authority, right? So this is something to appreciate, that you can take a political stance on issues and you can reshape the system, like on one issue, you know what I mean? Like legalization of cannabis. um you could stand up against the system. And what you're looking to do, perhaps one of the possibilities, and this could apply towards feminism too, is you're not necessarily looking, oh, you got to win this issue or that issue. No, you're just looking to make a crack in the dam. You're just looking for people to see, hey, guess what? This government, authoritative system, yeah, we can make some headway on it. We can chip away at it. Boom, there it is. Right. So yeah, really powerful stuff. So you guys might want to check him out, especially if you're interested in cannabis cultivation. Sub LBC. Yeah. So he was, so I just had some interaction with him, and he just acknowledged my channel, and that was really awesome. And I really appreciated that. So Yeah, I was really thrilled, because it's always good to get appreciation. And, a lot of MGTOW, established MGTOW, were really cool to me and really support me and things like that. But, you don't always get along with everybody, and that's fine. So, yeah, I was real excited about that. I was like jumping up and down. Well, maybe not that excited, but yeah, some people have to have their messages fucking deleted, man, because you guys just don't know how to behave. You just don't know how to control yourselves. And that's what it's about. Okay. As a man, you have to exhibit emotional control over yourself. Now, I know that, you might feel a certain way, but you have to be able to moderate that shit. And here's the thing, a lot of the men don't necessarily teach men by directly telling them what to do. So like a young guy is like, it's like, well, tell me what to do. Tell me how to pick up women. Tell me how to make a lot of money. Tell me how to be really successful. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You know, tell me how to be good with a sword. Tell me how to be a good fighter. Tell me how to be a good man. Tell me what I have to do in order to be a good, strong man. And it just doesn't work that way. There's no, just set list. It's a set of character traits. And it's a set of, overcoming obstacles as they present themselves. And you're going to be challenged. So it's like you're not building, you're not teaching somebody how to do something. You're helping them establish and build the character that they need in order to persevere through these types of difficulties and to teach themselves if that's what they want to do. You can also do some just practical straight up teaching, that works too. Yeah, absolutely. Some of that too. But I'm just saying that there's this other aspect of male teaching where it's like, no, you're teaching the kid not to be afraid. You know, you're teaching the kid to have something that he's really proud of that's completely independent. It's like, well, you can't make any money at it. It's like he doesn't care. It's like, well, nobody else does that. He doesn't care. He just wants to be good at that. That matters to him. And the idea that it doesn't matter to anybody else, that's okay. Right. So now the man has, the young man has some sort of, some pride, some dignity in something that's independent, that is his. This is why, a garden is a fine idea. Have something that is yours just for you to do. It could even be like just a drawing, that you're working on, just your drawing, just for you. Because this gynocentric system, it takes these things away from the man, from the individual man. It's like, what are you, gay? If you're doing anything that isn't 100% geared towards getting a woman, and getting laid, what kind of a man are you? Are you gay? So all of these things that can give your life meaning and value and allow you to be strong and to build a future, these things are stripped away from you as a man. They're stripped away from us. They're shamed. And the man wants to get laid. And the woman wants control. So, it's like neither side actually knows everything that it's really doing. It just knows that it's so strongly compelled to act in this manner. And when it, and that it just wants what it wants. And when it gets what it wants, it's happy and it's good. And as I said, on the side of the female, it leads to just this terrible whorish behavior of hypergamy. And on the male side, it just leads to this willing servant, sacrificial animal behavior where he will take the entirety of humanity and Western civilization and all of our hopes and dreams and nobility and science and poetry and art and our hope for the future, and he will throw it down the drain so that he can get laid with some trashy little whore. And in his mind, he's still thinking, well, of course, I'm not gay. I want to get laid. She's hot. Right. So you can't even, neither side can recognize its own worldview, what it doesn't see. So that's what I was kind of working on. That's what I was advancing with my the permeation of gynocentrism and female values. as leading to this certain type of blindness in people with different worldviews. And it's tied directly to their instincts, and it's tied directly to their survival. I can see it, or I'm starting to be able to see it, but I'm like somebody who's actually gone through the maze and who actually said, oh, fuck, I'm completely fucking lost. Right. And I know I'm completely fucking lost. And I know that every turn that I take, I won't be able to track backwards. So we're going to do a piece of string, we're going to tie it off, or we're going to put some sort of symbols on every corner, or we're going to have some sort of pattern that, at every corner we're taking a particular type of turn. And we're mapping our way through the maze. We're not just going through the maze. And this has to do with your emotions, guys. This is a metaphor for what I was talking about, right? So if you can't control your emotions and you're just going to say something stupid like, fuck the bitches, or, kill this person or kill that person, no, your message needs to be deleted. And I certainly don't need to respond to it in the comment section, right? But at the same time, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. Go ahead, express yourselves, but don't go crazy with it. Don't lose yourselves in it. Just taking a moment, pausing here and there, to have a drink, stuff like that. I hope you guys don't mind just hanging out. I could have subjects. I could have actual ideas. No, no, I'm reading Ben's comment here. Nobody wants to give up, their attraction to women, and I don't see why a man should. Right? This is part of the problem. Okay, is that this idea of male sexuality being controlled and harnessed and shamed and manipulated? No, there should be a healthy balance. And if you can come across women that act right towards men, I don't see any problem in acting right towards them. You know? Yeah. I like the Barbarossa video, is that most men are one blowjob away, from leaving MGTOW. Shit, most men are just a fucking few compliments away, a friendly smile, and it's not the worst thing in the world, because if it's a genuine, real friendly smile, what else are you doing tonight? So at that level, if you've got this healthy interaction between men and women, what's wrong with that? This is where we come from. This is pleasing to us, but it's this horrible fucking trap. And it's this, blindness to our own nature on both sides. And it's this gynocentric system that destroys men, and they're blind to it. And they're shamed and manipulated into going into this system. So much so that, the construction guy at the McDonald's is, shaking and trembling because he has to give money to some immigrant woman who won't even get out of her pajamas, won't even learn the language, won't even learn how to count the money in the system. That's how she likes to be here. You know what I mean? That's what being a woman entitles her to do. We'll fly her in here first class. Men will chase after her. Then she'll get old and stupid. She won't even learn the language. And she looks at a young man and he's like, oh my God, let me give you some money. Oh, right. Now I'm MGTOW and I'm standing there and I'm thinking, don't even come near me, you smelly bitch. I got plenty of, and I got the change in my pocket that she needs, but I've got plans for that change. I got some serious fucking plans for that change. Good plans. Hey, whiskey stills and tumbleweeds. Thanks for stopping by, man. No, an attractive women, that are an attractive woman that's healthy and has a good attitude. When you see like fitness models and things like that, they don't hate men. They don't have this kind of like attitude, right? It's only these fat, elderly, unhealthy women that, can't get along with men, that don't have the right attitude, that have been brought up on this, feminist mindset. They're the ones that are unhappy. They tell all their lies so that they get, they can get their jobs. They demonize men at every level of society. They promote women. They're interested in female supremacy. They talk, and if you don't go along with it, what, do you not like women? What, do you hate the women? I'm sorry to use that tone, but you know what I mean? It's a weapon. It's a tool. And it's how they control the men. Now, the fact that men are, somewhat slaves to their biology and want to be with women and want to please women and want to protect women and provide for women, there's nothing wrong with that. This is where, I have a hard time, going with the whole MGTOW monk idea. All right. There's nothing wrong with our physiology, man. There's nothing wrong with our biology. This isn't something to be overcome. It's something to understand and to work with. This is why I say the healthy men and the women in a reasonably healthy situation, yeah, they get along pretty well, right? Works out very well, to be honest with you. Because like I'm really good at certain types of work and dealing with the world in a certain type of way. Like if there's a loud noise, okay, there's a certain aspect of my personality that is really good at picking up a weapon and going out to that noise. There's no problem with me doing that. If there's a big problem, like something to be overcome, it doesn't really bother me. I can break it down into smaller little jobs. Build the Empire State Building, just 1 or 2 floors at a time. No problem. But then there are certain things that really do bother me that I just can't deal with. I can't have one mindset and then have another mindset, an emotional mindset. It would be really nice if I could focus on the things that I'm good at and let somebody else focus on things like maintaining a nest who's good at those things, because I'm good at protecting and providing for it, but I'm not good at taking care of it so much. I'm more of a kind of, so it would be nice. Now, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. I know that. And I've become it's not been easy, but I can cook, I can clean, I can do laundry, I can take care of the yard. I kind of like the yard because I kind of like the gardening and stuff, but, I really just kind of like a smaller subset of the behavior. But I can do both sides of it. So, we've lost that. We've lost that basic, cooperation and things like that by making everything mechanized and technology and easy. The women don't need the men and they don't appreciate the men. They don't care about men anymore. And they, true to their gynocentric hypergamous nature, they just want more stuff and they just want more security. And they'll tell every dirty lie in the book about the men around them to get it, because men are evil and you got to look out for the women and you got to promote the women because things are unfair for the women. And if, need you to wear these pink ribbons, and it works. It works. It's like a con job. It's like extortion money. You do what we say or we accuse you of hating the women and not, being a good man. And they're doing it just to get resources, just to provide for their security, just to get more resources, just to fulfill their, retarded female ambition. And the men are going along with it because they just want to get laid and they just want to be real men and they just want to have sex. And you got to please the women. Their mothers taught them right. You got to please the women. And we come from other people who took care of the women. So it's these two sides of our nature. You can't see the other person, the other sex's side of it. Both sides fall for each other's traps. Men have to put women in their place. Women have to learn to go into their place. And it cannot, and they're not going to do it willingly. Right? They're not going to do it willingly. They're like wild animals that don't want to go into their pen. Although that's not a great comparison, but it's, it's like this wild aspect of our nature. The man just wants to have sex, he'll do anything. The woman just wants to get money, resources, and security. She'll do anything. She'll sell out as a good man. She'll sell out her own society, her own culture. That's what we're dealing with. And then when they don't win the election, you know what I mean? They just scream, he's a fascist, he's a sexist. And then they start breaking things and crying and holding their breath and making up more lies, as the mainstream media does. It's amazing. It's like every day, it's like, oh, we're going to tell 10 new lies and see which one of them work. Like, shit, why don't you just tell the truth? Why don't you actually just tell the truth as things are? This is me talking to the mainstream media. Put across your point, what you want to have happen, right? And then kind of like negotiate that moving forward, as opposed to just telling a whole bunch of dirty lies about somebody. It's like, yeah. I'm trying to think of a nice comparison here, but it escapes me at the moment. Lesbian vampire killers. I know, it's true. It's so true. Yeah, that sounds like a title of a video for me. It really does. I'm not democratic. No, you don't have to be democratic. There's a bad side to democracy, right? Just a bunch of people want to vote for free food for themselves, free ice cream and shit. I'll be right back. Actually, I need to take a sugar break, so I guess I'm going to end it here. Sorry about that. I thought I was just going to take my sugar break and continue on, but I don't think that's going to work out. Anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by, taking the time to let me, clarify some of my thoughts here. And I'll probably be doing a video on some of these subjects right here. But let me know what you think about it, subject ideas, channel ideas, stuff like that. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the, interaction, everything like that, even if I don't hang out in the comment section on the videos too much. So please like, share, comment, subscribe. Please share. Please subscribe if you're not already. And join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you guys. Thanks, guys.